It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith, joined as always by Alan Saunders, and it is a Friday, and we are in season. That means Steelers DB Derrick Bell joining the pod. I don't know if you hear the dogs barking outside as well, but they are also joining the pod. How we doing, DB?
Doing pretty well, man. Can't complain. Got an interesting game we could talk about. So got to get back on the right track.
You're the only one that's 2-0, right? So
yeah. Well, what I was thinking about,
someone
brought this up in my live stream, saying that we kind of missed the boat on, like, we should have did some sort of like challenge on the Friday pod, as far as like a wins challenge, like whoever loses has to do some sort of like punishment, like fun punishment or something like that.
We could start it in season.
I mean, I just hated to be the one to bring it up, since I am the one who's 2-0. Even though I do not enjoy picking against the Steelers.
No.
Sure.
So I'm saying
starting it this week.
Start it now. Like the first 2 weeks did not count. It's from this point going forward.
I mean,
if we want to count the first 2 weeks, I guess that we could. We didn't know,
We can marinate. We can marinate on that. It'd be something, an idea to get some engagement with the listeners.
You said you have nothing to complain about. You complained as soon as you joined the room to me when I asked about the hoodie. You're like, it's 5 degrees in my basement. So,
bro,
you already
I don't know how it's like 85 degrees outside and it's 5 degrees in my basement. But yeah, we're getting hoodie Steelers DB for the time being.
You're a shiesty away from a very authentic George Pickens look there, I gotta say.
Oh my God, George.
Shout out to George. I'm curious to see what he has to say about the Steelers this weekend following the Dallas Cowboys game. But anyways, we'll dive into this. It's a Friday. We're going to do preview and predictions. But of course, Alan, first things first, we got to talk about if anything came out of the day that was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Derrick Harmon, full practice, listed as questionable. Do we see him? Is the NFL debut on tap Sunday?
I mean, I think we'll know for sure tomorrow. I'm leaning towards yes.
Okay.
I just think they need him. And I don't know if he's 100%, but I think he'll be a help. They also didn't bring anybody else up, so that is a sign to me, right? They took Isaiah Loudermilk, put him on the IR. DeMarvin Leal can play inside, but they replaced Loudermilk with a guy to replace Alex Highsmith and did not replace Loudermilk with another defensive lineman, which kind of tells me they're at least thinking Harmon's pretty darn close.
Okay. Yeah. You said DeMarvin Leal can play there. Not sure that I have interest in seeing it, but DB, what do we think if we do see the debut of Derrick Harmon?
I feel like he's going to play just based on the practice participation. And like Alan said, them not bringing anybody up from the practice squad or anything like that, other than, Leal, whatever that does for your opinion of that. But I mean, Harmon, if we could see him play in some capacity, I think that would be helpful, especially against New England. So I think limited snap count probably makes the most sense. Like maybe, even if he's out there for 15, 20 snaps, I think that would be nice to at least get him in the fold. It would be interesting for him to, like, if he wasn't able to make his debut this week, him making his NFL debut in Ireland. Like, who's the last player to make their NFL debut in Ireland?
No one's ever made their NFL debut in Ireland. This is the first regular season game. You can't have ever had made your NFL debut.
That's why I thought you were going to say international in general. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a nice trivia question down the
road. Although didn't Le'Veon
we've had 2 straight teams that opened their season, 2 straight years, 2 teams opened their season in Brazil. So all their rookies opened their career international.
Didn't Le'Veon, after missing his time, make his debut against the Vikings in their international game?
I feel like you might be right about that.
Yeah.
I try to block that game out because of the Mike Adams fiasco. Yeah,
2013.
That was a bad time.
Anyway, as Alan looks into this, I mean, to that point, I just want him to get his feet wet. Whatever
first career game
he can get on the field, there it is. See, I remember stuff like that. Whatever capacity we can see Derrick Harmon on the field in this one, I think will be important just to get his feet wet, get him acclimated before going to travel and play in this international one. So I'm excited to see him. And also, to be quite honest with you, he plays into my predictions. So, like, if he doesn't play, that one, throw it out the window before kickoff. So definitely got to get him on the field. Anyways, as we always do, we'll talk about key matchups from both sides here, how this thing is going to be decided, and then do obviously our predictions, throwing in some bold predictions in there as well as the score. DB, I'll start with you here. What do you think tells the story in terms of the way this one's going to go? What's some key matchups for us to look at?
A couple things. We could stay on like kind of the injury front for right now. Does Christian Gonzalez play? He's been practicing in some capacity for the Pats throughout the week. It seems like most of the Pats media members feel like Gonzalez is going to play. So that'll be interesting to see just him match up with DK Metcalf. They had a fun kind of back and forth last year. Just over the summer doing like what I do, just going back and like watching certain positions. I thought that Gonzalez was probably the second best corner in the NFL last year. I thought it was like kind of between him and Stingley, right behind Patrick Surtain, but definitely a player that I'm a huge fan of. Just athletically, he's like one of the very few players in the NFL that can kind of match Metcalf's like size and speed combination. So that'd be a fun thing, especially as it pertains to. I feel like the Pats coverage, matrix will look a little bit different with him too. One of the reasons that kind of I feel like their organization was so drawn to him was just because of like his man coverage ability, and that's kind of what they've historically done a lot of over there. So I'll just be, curious if they play a little bit more man coverage or what that does for them. But New England's secondary without him has struggled, to say the least. So they definitely need him back in the lineup. Carlton Davis is another guy they signed in the offseason, another guy that can play at the line of scrimmage, big, long, physical cornerback, but they've dealt with some injuries and stuff in the back end as they transition with the new defense, especially with the defensive coordinator who's like been dealing with some personal stuff. So he's been away from the team a decent amount over the past couple of months. So it's definitely a unique situation over there as New England tries to navigate some uncharted territory.
Alan, get your perspective on that as well, but just want to throw in this nugget right now. I know it's through just 2 games for them, but league leading 315 passing yards per game allowed for the New England Patriots, and Dolphins, who have played 3 games. That was the only one where they were able to have a bunch of success through the air, was against the New England Patriots. And honestly, that'll play into my bold prediction later on. But Alan, thoughts on that, potentially Christian Gonzalez coming back into the fold and how he does change things for that New England secondary?
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty bad. Geno Smith against New England was 24 of 34 for 362 yards, a touchdown, and interception. And then against the Chargers, who I think have a good defense, but they're not like an elite defense, I don't think. 24-43, 180 yards and 3 picks. So, like a huge difference in those 2 games. Obviously, getting Christian Gonzalez back is a big boost. But, like, I think this should be a matchup that Aaron Rodgers can exploit. Even Christian Gonzalez alone does not really solve all the problems for the Patriots. When you look at very specifically that Raiders game, obviously Jacoby Myers is a pretty good player. You don't necessarily feel bad about him beating you. Need to have 10 catches for 97 yards, but Brock Bowers had 103. I think the tight ends, it's not just the corners, right? It's the coverage all over that seems pretty suspect.
And I'll throw the running backs in there too. Devon Achane was getting loose against New England as well in week 2, 8 catches for 92 yards, right, for him. And that'll play into maybe my prediction on the offensive side as well here. But I think that this is a very attackable defense, and I'm curious to see. Derek, it looked like you were about to say something else there.
Yeah, I think the revenge game thing has become quite the narrative for the Steelers.
Yes.
It feels like every week I'm getting some mention of a revenge game in some capacity. But Robert Spillane, has been pretty vocal about, he was definitely a little bit upset that the Steelers, indicated to him that they were going to bring him back, and then they ended up going a different direction. This is, of course, before, he goes to Vegas, and, he's really turned his career really in a different direction. Like I thought he was a fine like complimentary piece here. He goes and gets like a nice bag from the Patriots in this through free agency, but it has not been smooth sailing for my guy Big Bob so far this season. Opposing teams have kind of had him in the sniper scope a little bit, and he's been missing a lot of tackles in space. So sometimes that can happen when you go into a new environment, a new scheme, a new system. It takes you a little bit to get, up to speed. And, Spillane is a solid player for sure. But I do think that that's a matchup that the Steelers will probably look to exploit, especially given some of the things that he struggled with over the first couple weeks.
Not just Spillane. I think Christian Ellis has really struggled. Craig Woodson, who's a young guy they like at safety, was a 4th-round pick. Ended up replacing Jabril Peppers. Had lots of Patriots fans in my mentions over last week complaining about Woodson and wondering why they cut Peppers. I think this should be a big game for the Steelers tight ends and backs receiving against those matchups. Like whether Christian Gonzalez comes back or not, I don't think the Patriots have the horses to run with Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth and Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell out of the backfield.
Yeah, I might have been a week. That was my prediction for last week offensively was the tight ends and running backs. We're going to have a field day. So maybe I missed the boat by a week there. But the strength of this New England defense is against the run. So far, 3rd in the NFL, just 58.5 yards rushing per game through 2 weeks. When you pay a guy like, Milton Williams to plug up the middle there, pay him the way that he did, hopefully, I think that you hope that that's going to be the case. But do you think there's any hope for this to be the game for things to get going on the ground for the Steelers? Is there anything that you see on film when watching them, DB, that you're like, okay, this is the total that they've allowed for 2 weeks, but let's keep in mind it's just 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing is, through the first 2 weeks, it's such a small sample size from a data perspective, right? I do think that the Patriots, they invested some money this offseason in trying to clean up some of their weaknesses. And I honestly, some of their signings that I wasn't even really a big fan of on the surface, like even like a guy like Harold Landry is like playing pretty good football. I love the Milton Williams signing. I thought that was a pretty inspired move from them just because they're looking for, foundational cornerstone type of pieces. And Milton Williams has been pretty awesome, man.
Where did he back out? Didn't he wasn't there?
Carolina. They've got to be
Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They have got to be just like absolutely sick, especially like with the way that their season has gone. Oh boy, it's not looking good down there in Carolina for sure. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that this is going to be a tough game for the Steelers ground game to get going. I thought that they did some better things last week. It was a kind of a different approach. It was a lot of shotgun. I think they were kind of a little bit leery of getting under center against McDonald and some of the things that he can do. But, this Patriots front, I mean, it does cause some issues. I mean, like you look at even some of the numbers you talked to Smitty about how they are against the just defending the run, but also, the pass. They're 6th in pressure rate right now. They're 1st in time. They're 1st in sack percentage too. They've got and it's not just, guys, one guy kind of beating you up. We mentioned Milton Williams, like he's kind of probably their best individual pass rusher. They've got Christian Barmore back in the the fold, but I mean all their metrics are pretty solid all the way across the board. I mean they're 9th in time to throw percentage. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting test. I think there are definitely some weaknesses on the Patriots side in terms of, their ability to tackle in space. Like that's something that Spillane struggled with, but really as a defense as a whole, they're allowing a lot of yards after the catch. And the Steelers, that's one thing that they've done really, really well so far this season is, create after the catch. You think about some of those plays, especially in week 1, them being able to get loose. And then Jalen Warren had that 65-yarder last week. So those are some of the ways that I think you could probably move the ball, even though I'm not – the run game thing to me is one of those things where it's like I'm just going to have to see it before I really start to believe that it's going to happen, or maybe we get a really favorable matchup. But the Pats so far have been pretty solid at defending the run. So,
Alan, anything you see from the Patriots run defense feel like it's exploitable? Anything about it?
Running backs with at least 10 carries per game, Jalen Warren 6th in success rate in the NFL. I think the Steelers' running game just gets a lot better if they just give him the ball more and less of Kenny Gainwell in
Let me write
running
that down.
situations.
We can't do that.
I mean, it makes it a lot better right away. I think one of the keys to the Steelers is they got to stay on the field. I think this New England defensive front seven is good. I think Harold Landry is a super underrated player. I think Christian Barmore has always been a pretty underrated player. But you get to if they got 4 down, which they're 3-4 base, but they'll run 4 down in nickel. You got Chase on and Landry on the edge, Milton Williams and Tonga and Barmore in the middle. That's a pretty good 4. You go to the second group and it's Tonga, Corey Durden. I don't
Zachary
even know
Smith.
because Keon White's hurt, so I don't even know if he's going to play. Like Anthony Jennings, like it's ugly, right? They don't have any depth, and so I think you got to keep them on the field. I think that's what worked for Miami is that they kind of turned into a track meet, and so I think that's definitely a way that this could be a game where the Steelers start running the ball and it doesn't look great. But they can't get discouraged. Like, they got to stay after it because I think you can wear this defensive line down.
Flipping to the reverse here, the other side now, New England offense going against the Steelers defense. Going back and watching, I was very impressed with Drake May last week. I think he's played some good ball in general. Don't think he has like a plethora of weapons at his disposal, but I'm very impressed by his trajectory in general. I think he's going to be, so far through a short period of time here, just week 3, the best quarterback that the Steelers have faced. What challenges does this New England offense present to the Steelers defense right now?
Looks like a Josh McDaniels offense, man. I've been really impressed too with May, just the way that he's handled, the transition. I always think with young quarterbacks, they get put in really bad situations. And if you didn't watch the New England Patriots offense last year, be glad because it was an ugly scene. Just turnstiles up front on the offensive line, no weapons to speak of. I don't even think that the offensive coordinator was necessarily like a huge issue. Just not really a lot to work with. And sometimes I think rookie quarterbacks can get put in those situations and scar tissue and bad habits develop. And that does not look like the case for May. And I think, Zach, to what you're talking about, like there's not a ton of splashy playmakers on this offense in terms of like how they're able to move the ball through the air, but just some of the minor details and intricacies of understanding how to play the position have kind of popped on tape. Like he's setting the protections for them up front, getting them into the right plays. And I think that Josh McDaniels offense is not the easiest thing in the world for a young quarterback by any means. So yeah, May is certainly really talented. One thing that you've kind of already seen is that he's very, very willing to use his legs. Like he really, really hurt. He really hurt the Dolphins last week in some situations with him scrambling and getting out of the pocket. The Steelers have done a decent job of defending scrambles like last year. But we've seen, Justin Fields got loose a couple times in that week 1 game. Darnold's not necessarily a scrambler, although he did have that one nice play in the fourth quarter out of structure. So yeah, I think with May, it's going to be a challenge for sure, and they're going to be at home, so they're going to be able to kind of control the environment a little bit, but going to have to make sure that you're getting pressure on him, and I think the big thing too is going to be stopping this run game.
Alan?
Yeah, I think we should have real concerns about the Steelers' ability to stop the run. Happened to pick up Ramondre Stevenson in my fantasy league this week. I don't really love that matchup for them. I do, however, like 2 rookies on the left side of the offensive line. Even without Alex Highsmith in there, I think Nick Herbig can go to work on Will Campbell, who's a prospect I like, but I think Herbig is a pretty unique pass rusher that gives even talented players trouble sometimes. Now, the question will be, can he hold up against the run? And I think that's still TBD, but I like him against Campbell in the pass rush. When you look at Drake May, the numbers are better this year. The ADOT is the same, still like right at 7.2 yards. So like he's getting time to throw that he wasn't getting last year. I think that's the biggest difference in his game now. And I think the Steelers have to disrupt that, and maybe you get the Drake May of last year back if you're able to.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's just going to be questions to DB's point, like where he was talking about the run game getting going on the Steelers side. On the flip side, until the Steelers stop the run,
I feel a lot better about the Steelers' chances of being able to run the ball than I do their chances of stopping the run. I look at the tape and there's no schematic fix for what's happening there. You're just melting. I don't know how you fix that.
Melting.
More from a
What's happening? Like,
so from that perspective, Steelers defense, Patriots offense, is it just the run game as a whole, or is there like a specific player that you think you're circling in this one?
It's just interesting because you look at the Pats run game as a whole, like, McDaniels, like I said, it looks like a Josh McDaniels offense to me. They've been not very good at outside zone, which is what has given this Steelers defense a lot of trouble over the past 2 weeks. They have been like pretty good in some of their gap scheme stuff, which is interesting because that's not, again, what the Steelers have seen the first 2 weeks with Tanner Engstrand, new Jets offensive coordinator, and then of course Clint Kubiak, who kind of comes from that Shanahan wide zone and boot world. But it'll be interesting to see like how they deal with that, especially like to me. If I was an offensive coordinator and I saw that one of the off-ball linebackers got put underneath the stadium by a lead blocker twice in one game, I would probably target that guy on some of the gap scheme stuff and just see if he can take on blocks. Now we'll see. Peyton Wilson can play better than what he's played so far. Like, he's a better player than what we've seen through the first 2 weeks. Now, do they start to incorporate more guys? Is Cole Holcomb going to start to get in the mix this week? We'll see. I think that's probably going to happen. But, I think, stopping the run, trying to make them one-dimensional is going to be something. I would also mention that Drake May, has been very, very good against, single high coverages. He's been one of the best quarterbacks, I think, in the NFL so far against cover 1 and cover 3. What do the Steelers like to run? Cover 1, cover 3. If you're not going to stop the run and you're going to live in that static shell kind of world on the back end, you're going to be in for a world of hurt, even if this team doesn't have a lot of dynamic playmakers. So,
yeah. Alan, this may be more of a question for you because we talked earlier, DB just mentioned Cole Holcomb, and we talked about the idea of him playing more. Also talked about Daniel Ekuwale. What about Jabril Peppers? Do you think we could see him incorporated more? He didn't play any snaps defensively, just special teams. But do you think that this is where we do see him actually make an impact defensively?
Yes. Yeah, I think you'll see Jabril Peppers. I think maybe they'll try to get him in the box a little bit. Might see the 3 safety package for the first time this year. With him as the Deshaun Elliott in that look.
Okay.
Patriots don't run a ton of 12, which is kind of what that package is built for. But they're struggling against the run so much that I think being heavier is better. And without Porter, their idea of being this big, all the time nickel team kind of doesn't work as well. Not that Brandon Echols is bad, but it's not as attractive to run nickel against everything without Porter out there.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Anything to add matchup wise that we haven't covered yet before we get into our predictions?
I think that pretty much covers it. I am excited about the Nick Herbig and Will Campbell matchup. Just seeing how that transforms the game, and just in general. I know that they did a lot of this in the preseason, but they really like to get Campbell on the move, a lot of screens and things like that. Both of their backs are good pass catchers, so it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to get after the Steelers that way with some misdirection. Steelers kind of struggled, especially the first 2 weeks of the season with some of the bootleg stuff, like losing crossers. They lost Elijah Arroyo on a boot crosser last week. That'll be something that they'll want to get cleaned up, because I think McDaniels will try to lean in to that a little bit as well. So,
okay. All right. Good stuff. All right, we'll do some predictions, of course, some bold predictions. And to be honest, there's a theme for my bold predictions, guys. There are things that are obviously going to be good for the Steelers, but there's going to also just be some fans that are upset about it. And you'll see what I mean as we talk about it here in a second. So I'll open up first talking about my offensive bold prediction. I talked about the running back success. So I think we get a receiving touchdown from a back in this one. It's going to be Kenny Gainwell, though, that does it, and not Jalen Warren. And there's going to be fans. There's going to be fans very upset about Kenneth Gainwell scoring a touchdown.
If it's 3rd and 7 at the 7, fine. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying that this is going to be a theme for me where it's good things happening for the Steelers, but there's still just like this pushback from Steelers fans in terms of like, why was it that guy? Why was he even on the field? But all right, curious what you guys think about the offensive side of things. Assuming that you did, I mean, I always do one offense, one defense. I do have a bonus one in here this week as well. Alan, I'll go to you next.
Yeah, I was looking for a player prop here, and I couldn't even find one. So I think that means it qualifies as bold.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a big play from Antonio Gibson in this game. I just think that's a guy that like we remember what Kenny Gainwell did to the Steelers last year, and sure, like Travion Henderson can be that a little bit, but I don't know. I see him as a guy who can punish you.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more of Travion Henderson. Like if you look at his touches through the first 2 weeks, I'm a little bit surprised that it's as low as it's been.
Yeah, that's why I picked up Ramondre Stevenson because he's actually getting the ball a lot. But yeah, I couldn't even find an over rushing or receiving total for Travion Henderson, for Antonio Gibson. So I guess that counts as pretty bold. I also like Jaylen Warren to go over 100 yards from scrimmage. I don't think that's like crazily bold, but I also like that.
All right, Davey, give me something offensively.
So my prediction on offense is not super bold, but maybe it is. Aaron Rodgers, air yards, second lowest in the NFL right now, behind only Bo Nix. I think week 1, that strategy made some sense. I thought they left some cheddar on the table a little bit against the Seahawks. One player who the Steelers acquired this offseason in hopes to kind of boom their passing offense, DK Metcalf, does not have a deep ball reception so far this season that I can recall off the top of my head. The New England Patriots have given up 7 receptions of over 20 air yards. That's the second most to the Dallas Cowboys, who are not a real defense anymore without Micah Parsons. So I'm going to say that Metcalf goes over whatever his longest reception is on any sportsbook you can find and catches a deep ball against the Pats, regardless of Christian Gonzalez is in the game or not. That is my prediction for the offense.
Okay.
Defensively, I'm in between a couple different ones here. I was going to go with a oddly specific one, but I think I'm going to holster that for another week.
I want oddly specific.
No, I think I'm just going to be generic here and say that I'm going to stick with like the revenge game narrative. I'm going to say Jabril Peppers makes some sort of splash play in this one. Whether it's a key third down stop, whether it's, getting a turnover, a sack, a big hit, something like that. I'm going to say that Jabril Peppers makes more of an impact this week than what we've seen so far from, Chuck Clark and or Juan Thornhill. Neither one of those guys have really made any like splash play. I'm going to say Peppers gets him a splash play this week.
Liked it. Al, do you got something, or do you want me to go first?
I think the defense. The pass defense comes back in a big way here. I think they're able to get right. I'm saying Steelers 2 interceptions of Drake May.
Okay. All right. So I said I have a theme here with my bold predictions, and it's going to be things that are good but upset the fans in a way still. I think Derrick Harmon gets a sack, but he plays less than 10 snaps. So people are going to be upset about him not playing more because he had a sack, but only played like 10 snaps.
Okay.
Nice.
You see what I'm saying here? I think the fans would be upset if that's the case. We get a Kenny Gainwell touchdown.
The fans will be mad if they win and mad if they lose. And there's really no unless it's like 58-2, probably still going to be mad about the safety. Like.
Say that would be an interesting post game to see. We always, I feel like, get more engagement when things are bad. So if they win 58-2, it would be interesting to see what the response is to it. I said I have a little another one to throw in here. I'll allow you guys to tell me if I have to make this smaller than what it is. I got special teams making a field flipping play. Now, do I have to clarify if that's a blocked field goal, extra point, punt, something like that, big return, or can I just say in general a special teams field flipping play?
I think I'll let you have it.
I mean,
After the Caleb Johnson debacle last week, I think I'll just let you have any type of special teams field flipping play.
It's been on my mind since then. I'm like, they're getting one back in some form of, maybe not to that magnitude. I mean, that's a gift. I don't know that you're just going to get that handed to you. Yeah, but some form or fashion, a special teams play is going to flip the field in the Steelers' favor in this one. Maybe this is the week for the yearly Miles Killebrew block. I don't know. Okay.
Vrabel's teams notoriously have not been very good at special teams.
That's interesting because, he, similarly to Tomlin in one fashion, is like a floor-raising coach, and you just automatically think, he just seems the type of guy that automatically would have, a good special teams unit, at the very least. Even if the rest of your roster is not very good, I just feel like the special teams unit would be. So that's interesting. I've never, looked into that, but okay. All right, anything else to throw out there before we do game predictions?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay. DB?
Will Caleb Johnson return a kick?
No. Will Caleb Johnson get a helmet? That's the better question to me.
I mean, is Sermon going to get called up?
I mean, we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like if he doesn't get called up,
well, yeah, I mean, they're not going to play with two.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'll say he gets a helmet but does not enter the game.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Man, what's the point?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to justify that.
I mean,
it's also hard to justify what he did.
Yeah,
I know. That's why I would rather him not be active than have that happen. I just don't know how I don't know. I'd rather see Trey Sermon up here if that would be the plan. But anyways, okay. I went first for offensive. DB went first defensive. Although DB, you were the only one correct last week on who was going to win this game. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who do you want to kick off score predictions here? You get to pick the order.
I will go first just so that I can get myself back in the good graces of our lovely listeners.
All right.
Who, although people really weren't giving me too much of a hard way to go last week. I didn't see any hate mail. I was kind of disappointed. People didn't bring it. I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game. I know that they haven't won very much in my lifetime in Foxborough or against the Patriots. Really,
is it a bold prediction just to say the Steelers are going to win Foxborough? I mean, historical trends.
Yeah, this is the exact win-loss kind of slot that I had picked out when I saw the schedule months ago. So I'm going to stick with it. I think that the Steelers and the Pats are relatively evenly matched teams overall from a talent perspective. I think it'll be a really close game, but I think the Steelers do just enough to kind of hang on and win a really tight one. I'm going to say it's 23-20 Steelers. It's a classic rock fight. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
DB, I am also picking the Steelers, but I don't see a rock fight here. I see Steelers run defense that's really struggling. I see a New England pass defense that's really struggling. I think there are easier fixes for the Steelers on offense than there are for defense. I think this is going to be a bit of a track meet, honestly. And I think the Steelers win. I've got Pittsburgh 30-27.
30.
Nice.
What would they're aren't they 8th in scoring right now? I know it's 2 weeks, but it's just funny to look at.
Yes.
Yeah.
8th in scoring.
And 30 would put them even higher than that because they're averaging 25.5 right now. Okay. So I'm obviously already have a lot.
That kind of goes in with my turnovers mean points also. So that's another I think the defense will give them some short fields.
I feel like I always come up with like weird scores on here. I'd have to go back and like listen or watch and see if that's true, but it just kind of feels that way. I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. I do think that this is a bit of a get right game for the defense. They're going to allow less than 20 in this one. I'm gonna go Steelers win 27-18.
Okay.
Clean
Blowout.
sweep across the board for the Steelers. Blowout. Hey, I mean, by more than one possession, I guess so. Yeah.
There have only been 2 NFL games that have finished 27-18. So there you go.
Oh, so it's not scoregami, but like pretty close.
25-18 is a scoregami.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why I should have gone 25 though. Oh,
Be kind of
I mean,
tough.
it's obviously
2 touchdowns and 2 touchdowns, 1 2-point conversion.
It's got to be with
3
a 2
field goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe a safety.
Yeah.
Oh, I could change my special
Patriots
teams.
have a rookie
flipping to the field
kicker.
to safety.
Fairly easy for them to miss.
Yeah, 2 misses last week, right?
Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah.
Anything to close on? That
Actually,
has not already been
that's
said.
a pretty good bold prediction. Actually, the Patriots miss an extra point. I may throw that one in there.
Well, coming off two misses last week, it might be more bold to say he makes one.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
No, but man, kicking is so bad across the league right now, and you just don't recognize it. It's either Chris
Boswell's deer.
It's either unbelievable or really bad. Like there's very
You got
right now.
You got people making 70-yarders like it's nothing, and then also people that can't make a kick to save their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Appreciate the Fridays with DB as always. Really enjoy this. Drop your score predictions and bold predictions down below. And by the way, they're time stamped. I don't know if you guys throw them in there afterwards. People have tried to do that in the past. You're not fooling anybody. We need those before
cheating.
The game. Yeah, stop cheating. DB, tell people they can find you.
Yeah, a cheating comment on Pat's week. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, you can find me at Steelers_DB on Twitter and YouTube. You can find all my written work at SteelersNow.com. I wrote about Jawan Bentley, potential solution maybe to the Steelers' run defense issues. We'll see. And I also wrote about Oregon quarterback Dante Moore, who has been, in my opinion, the most impressive
throwing his name in the mix.
2026 quarterback throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. Plays Oregon State this weekend, and then after that, the schedule gets a lot tougher. Got some big-time tests. So, yeah, keep an eye on that.
There we go. And Alan.
Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words. Sign up for SN Plus. Get all the best stuff from me, DB, the rest of the Steelers Now team. Our subscribers-only live stream is coming up next Monday. That's the 29th at 6 p.m. The 3 of us and probably some more of the team will be hanging around for that one. Get over to SteelersNow.com. Click the membership tab in the top right to sign up for that. It also really helps us out for things like traveling to New England, where we are sending myself, Brandon Howe, and Ed Thompson. I don't know how many independent outlets are sending 3 people to New England this week, but I bet we're the only one. So we really appreciate all of you.
Talk.
Yeah, all of you who help make that possible.
Flex on them one time.
The subscribers are the reason that we are able to do stuff like that, and we really, really appreciate it. Of course, anyone can subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channels. We continue to try to grow this channel and the rest of our shows, reach a bigger and bigger audience. Had a great week with the new shows, the Pick'em and the Night Shift. We are at 16,700 and Trenton Thompson 17.
Beautiful. Or some might say we are
right.
at 16,700 and Dion Kane.
Dion Kane. There you go.
Give it to me, baby. You got a 17?
I might have y'all one up. Did T. Martin wear 17?
T. Martin did wear 17.
Yes.
Where's T. Martin? T. Martin's been coaching for a while. I know he was with the Ravens, maybe.
He was with the Ravens.
Yeah,
he still is.
He might have been with the Ravens as a player, though. So hold on. Let me see what T. Martin's
quarterback's coach of Baltimore Ravens.
Is he? Nice. So I'm not making that up. Okay.
He's got a pretty good one.
Also, got to mention Eli Rogers. If we don't mention him, he's going to be on our mentions. Asking,
he could still
why,
play.
you know,
he can still play. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still good after it.
Wide
So
receiver too? That I hear.
We can't miss him.
Oh man.
I feel pretty good that I got the only. I think 17 is probably the only, at least like post World War II defensive player to wear 17. So I feel
that's true. Yeah, you might have that one.
Yeah. I mean,
player Trenton Thompson. Sad that neck injury ended up ruining his career. I thought he had a lot of promise.
It's hard to jump on a moving train, to use a Tomlinism, if you will, and play in general, let alone play as well as he did, being thrown into the fire there. So
interception. He was good.
Yeah. Anyways, as Alan said, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are here on YouTube, again, hit us in the comments. Your predictions, your bold predictions, we want them below. Leave us a 5-star review and subscribe if you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from. You can find us there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive, and then you'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH. For Alan Saunders, Derrick Bell, and myself, thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.